Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Brian Garibaldi. I'm the director, owner of Lake Cook Behavioral Health. This is my wife, Kathryn Garibaldi.
Hi.
She is here to help me for this talk today. Today's talk will be on parenting. I've done a lot of parenting videos lately, the whole series you guys can find on YouTube, or even this page will post them on. They're not posted quite yet, though. But this is parenting specifically for the toddler zone. The area of toddler. What is a toddler anyway?
A toddler? I mean,
what's a toddler?
They say 12 months to 2 years.
I looked it up on Wikipedia, actually, before we logged in. They said 12 months to like 36 months?
Yeah, 2 to 3.
It doesn't matter. This stuff applies... To say this stuff doesn't apply to 3-year-olds. There's a lot of core parenting principles
even
here.
5-year-olds, probably.
But very, like, initially geared towards younger kids, especially... We realized that kids younger than, like... All right, so we have 2 kids right around this area. Mm-hmm. One 3-year-old, one 15-month-old, or almost 16-month.
Yeah.
And we noticed, like, the little one, the 15-month-old, some of the stuff doesn't quite apply to. Because she kind of still does what we say. I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah.
She does what we say. We can trick her with, like, some Cheerios. No, I don't know. Like, she's easy to redirect. She goes along with stuff now, but we know our time is coming here because we've been through it before. So this video is also known as, I haven't even written down, the best of times, the worst of times. The toddler zone. So why is it the best of times? What's awesome about toddlers?
They can be very sweet, and they're hilarious, and they're very loving and affectionate. All the things that, when people say, have kids, it'll be great. Those are the things that are great.
I think older kids are loving and affectionate too. I think this is the first time, like, they choose to be clearly loving and affectionate. Because you can have, like, a 10-year-old who's loving.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like, they clearly choose to be. Like, a 15-month-old, like, she's choosing to be, I don't know, she's just like, of course she loves us and wants to hug us, because they give people hugs, and she does. Yeah. But, like, they so clearly choose, because they can choose not to so easily. So, I think for me, it's like there's so much intention behind it, or when they do it here.
Yeah.
I'm like a growth-oriented guy. I'm way into the amount of growth that happens for kids in this range, because the growth is unbelievable. I almost joke that, like, sometimes kids before they're 2, they're not really, like, I don't mean they're not people, but they're not, like, really people. They don't have their own opinions as much and stuff like that, but the amount of growth, like, emotionally is huge. The amount of growth physically is huge. They can go from walking to running to tricycles to, like, climbing. And I just like to see kids, like, do new stuff for the first time. I think that's, like, awesome and super fun. And just say new stuff and figure stuff out. And, like, our older daughter, who's, when I say older one, she's 3. She's super good verbally, and to hear her whip out verbal stuff. Again, it's the stupidest stuff. It's like, the fact that she knows a horse gallops, you know what I mean, is just like...
Or in a book, she knows what a buoy is.
A buoy,
it's like,
or like, we don't know
she
she other words, or she, like, campsite, she said today. Like, she might have heard it 3 times.
That's
like,
the best stuff.
Like, it's like, always figuring stuff out. I think it's, like, super cute. So they do all sorts of awesome stuff, and when it's great, it's just the cutest crap in the world. It's so cute. But when it goes bad... Holy crap. Hi, Peter. When it goes crap. I shouldn't do that, because say people die hi, because we're also live here. If you rewatch the video and we're talking to random people, we may take even questions and stuff as we go here. All right, but where was I? I was talking about when it goes bad with toddlers. Holy cow, it can go bad fast. So that's one of the worst of times. I have a little board where here, a point here. So we're going to talk about challenges next.
Yeah. The meltdowns and the unpredictability of them.
The meltdowns. What? Please describe a meltdown for the non-toddler fans.
A meltdown? Well, I mean, I guess an example would be...
What does it look like?
Everything's going perfectly great. Like the other day, we were in the car, and, we were with Grandma and Grandpa, and... I gave her a choice, like, hey, Grandma and Grandpa are going to the grocery store. Should we go with them? No, I don't want to go to the grocery store. Okay. And that, that's a choice I gave her. And as Grandma and Grandpa pass us and turn into the grocery store, all of a sudden she decides she wants to go to the grocery store. And a meltdown ensued for about 25 minutes.
So 25-minute meltdown.
Over
yelling?
Not being able to go to the grocery store.
Yelling.
Yeah, yelling,
crying.
screaming,
now,
crying.
fortunately, she's in the car. She was strapped in, okay? That's like when you got it good. Meltdown, you're strapped in. It's all okay. Go freak out. Like, go do your thing. But sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're in your house. Sometimes they're outside. Sometimes they're, like, in public.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Actually, I was probably lucky that happened in the car.
You know,
but still, it was...
I know it's an example we wanted to use. That example, like, I kind of get a little more. You changed your mind. You wanted to go somewhere. Meltdowns can happen for the, like, most random...
Wrong colored cup.
We should, if anyone logs in, here are comments. People should comment the random stuff that their kids...
Pete says, speaking
Pete's
of,
there.
one of mine is screaming. Like, I wonder why.
Why
Probably
was the screaming?
for something...
What was the random, like my daughter can scream because you didn't open the door right, or like whatever randomness you can think of that makes sense in her head. I don't know. Can we?
I picked her up wrong off of the floor.
How about this? I dropped her off at gymnastics. Parked in a parking lot. My wife picked her up from gymnastics, but there's two parking lots. She picked her up at the other side. So when she came out, and we're like, "Oh, we're going to this parking lot," which was the different one where I dropped her off. Meltdown.
Yep, in the middle of the parking lot, screaming.
Did you have to, like, drag her in?
Oh, yeah, I had to grab her.
Had to grab the child,
like,
strap,
push her into the
force
car.
them in the car so they're not melting down in the middle of the parking lot because mommy didn't park on the correct side.
Yeah. So hopefully these examples, like, help people feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. My kid does this too.
We know this happens all the time. You're in some mom groups.
Yeah.
Where it's just like the examples are everywhere.
It makes you feel a lot better.
Some kids are a little more particular. Our older one is for sure particular. Look, she tracked in her brain where the parking lots were. She has a story where this I'm putting the clinician hat on. All right.
Yeah.
Did everybody say before? I'm a licensed professional counselor. She is not.
I'm not.
But she works in education and she works with kids. So, but like, she has this idea in her mind that how it should be. And when it wasn't that, it was just like everything went bad. It just went to hell. And it could be various stuff that we don't even understand sometimes. Our daughter is good at language and speaking, and still most of the time she can tell, but there's still a portion of the time where it's like we don't even know why. And it's stuff like not just you brought the wrong crayon in, but like our daughter, it's like mild stuff. Oh, you didn't pick her up right when you put her in bed. That was today, right? You didn't pick her. She didn't melt down, but it was like a tense point because you didn't pick her up a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess like one of the other challenges and what people are probably really like wondering from here is like, so how do you respond?
What do you do
to that
when your toddler melts down?
Yeah. What's the response? And like for me, and I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Like for me, the hardest thing is trying to like in that split second that behavior is happening, like what is the best possible and appropriate response to that behavior? Like for me, like how do I handle this?
What do you do in that immediate second? I have a little edge up on not just you, but most people that I do a lot of parenting work. So I've already had to like walk through these scenarios with parents like all the time. So I have a little advantage. It's a little not fair. I have a little advantage to me, and I think I'm pretty good under fire too. It kind of helps. But what do you do in that moment? I think the best thing you could do is talk to your wife or a husband or whoever's doing caregiving to be like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
What do we do when this person acts out? This toddler acts out. Like, what do we do? What's the plan?
And I mean, stuff we've talked about before. It's like, okay, what version of the plan that we've talked about do we do?
Yeah. Are we doing a timeout? Are we doing her room? Are we not doing that? Which things are offenses?
Just removing her from this particular spot.
Yeah, that are consequences. Like,
are we taking something away?
Like, okay, so let's just say the parking lot example. She's melting down because it was the wrong parking lot.
What did I do?
Well, yeah, what did you do?
Well, I mean, it was in the middle of the parking lot, so it was, like, totally unsafe. Like, cars everywhere.
Safety first.
Trying to run... Yeah, safety first.
Safety first.
You know, I grabbed her, and I brought her to the car, and I got her in the car. And,
safety first.
She was doing the, which would probably be... A lot of moms would, recognize the, like...
like arcing.
Yeah, the
to not get in the seat.
Not getting in the car seat.
What do you do when they're arching like that? We're gonna get specific.
So I didn't even try to get her in the car seat. I just closed the door on her.
So you didn't buckle her in at that moment?
No.
Okay.
I closed the door. I sat in on the driver's side.
Okay, you got in the car, put her in the seat.
And I just turned around and said, kind of putting the ball in her court, let me know when you're ready to go.
Let me know when you're done.
Right. I'm not going to I didn't engage in any type of power struggle. I wasn't trying to get her in. I just said,
I talk about this in other videos regarding parenting things, is about, like, it sounds like you didn't engage in a power struggle, which I've done some variety of, like you escalate and then she escalates and you escalate and she escalates. You know, like you just avoided that. And there's multiple ways to avoid that. You know, if you're adept at the buckles, you can do it. But like, there's multiple ways to avoid that. But you didn't put yourself in the struggle, and you just let her what? Yeah,
you know, I mean, we have a strong-willed child. Sometimes that meltdown, I know we're kind of just using that word, kind of as a blanket term for something like this happening, but
That's for sure meltdown.
yeah. I mean, it had the potential to be long, but she actually got it together, I would say, like, in about maybe 5 minutes. And one of the things that our 3-year-old does a lot after she has a rough patch like that, she almost always asks for a hug. So
she asks for a hug
she'll
afterwards.
say, you know, she'll calm down and say, Mommy, I need a hug. Can I have a hug? And no matter how, like, egregious her behavior was prior, I think one of the things we do, and I think is really important, maybe some people wouldn't agree, is to just, like, no matter what, I give that to her.
You always give the hug.
We never withdraw that love.
Have I ever not given the hug?
I don't think so.
Sometimes I give her a hard time.
I mean, a hard
she's
time,
being
but
very personal. Like, no, you go away. No, you go away, Daddy. No, you go away, Daddy. There's some times where I push that a little. And I'm like, you told me to go away a bunch of times. You just turn around here? All right, I'm totally second-guessing it. Let's go back here. I'm talking about an exception already.
an exception
flexing.
case.
We try and never remove love, even when kids are in trouble. In this case, I don't think, like, she got in trouble for that. There's no consequence.
It was just a emotional regulation type thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's important to keep in mind what the real goal is here, besides safety.
Yeah, safety first.
The real goal is safety. There's a teaching your kids, right? Like, do we teach them she needs to be flexible in that moment? Well,
things might not always go how you think
in that moment. That's not like that's maybe the big picture goal. Like, what's the real goal? Then I think a big goal at this phase is, how do you teach your kids how to emotional regulate? Like, how do you do that? That's like what the goal is that's what you really want. You want them to emotionally regulate so they don't freak out or get as mad. All right? Is how do you teach them to emotional regulate? And you do that by giving them space to emotional regulate. That means the power struggle where it escalates can kind of escalate them. So you don't want to escalate. And I don't think you want to rescue too much. Be like, jump in, like, overly, like, you know, we probably done all the time, especially little kids. We're like, here, have a snack.
Right.
And we don't even want to interrupt it necessarily. Oh, here's a snack or whatever, or give in to them necessarily. You want to provide them a space to learn to emotionally regulate. And so what you did is you kind of, when you did that time, you probably didn't know you were doing this half the time. You created an environment that was safe, where she was in her chair, where she has to deal with her own feelings and emotional regulate. And you didn't overly rescue. You did an awesome job, by the way.
Thanks. I'm not always that good at it.
It doesn't feel like an awesome job, because this is going to happen daily, and you just feel like you're getting your butt kicked.
Yeah.
But you feel like no progress sometimes, like 6 months, and you're just like,
why are these still happening?
What did we do? But, like, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, you know?
But then there'll be other times when something you think that it would set her off, and then she does a great job and it doesn't. You know, there's those high points where you're like, okay, that was a win.
Yeah, I think we set ourselves up for, like, success by keep working that, let her emotional regulate, and giving her space to do that. I propose to let kids emotional regulate. Even something like this, she wasn't, like, hurting anybody. She wasn't, like, breaking any, besides being unsafe in a parking lot, she wasn't, like, breaking any bad rules we told her not to do. She wasn't hitting her sister. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I like to provide just a space, sometimes physical, but even emotional space. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You know? Like a culture where she, like, I'm not going to yell at her for, like, being upset and trying to get it together or like that. Provide space so she can get it together because she needs lots of practice at that.
Yeah.
And toddlers need lots of practice at that because in general they suck. Their parts of their brain are, like, developed and have these ideas, but their emotional regulation is developed.
Yeah. They can be a-holes.
Yeah. And even the kids that are better at it, they're usually just internalizing it, and there's later problems with that. Like, but that's just how it goes. So we provide space for that.
And there's a million different scenarios, probably, of, like, different examples. But
what do you do if you have a more challenging kid? I don't even know if our older daughter is, like, that much more challenging. I think she's a little sensitive to things. I don't mean overly sensitive, but I mean she's very aware of stuff. But like, she's kind of sensitive to things, but I don't think she's extremely challenging. Like, like maybe you've seen on the Mama Try group or other stuff.
Yeah, I mean you see in mom groups all the time. You read things and you're like, oh my gosh, how would I deal with that? Or that's like the solidarity thing. You just know that everybody's dealing with something.
What would you do if more challenged kids with more intense emotional regulation issues?
What would I do?
Yeah, what would you do?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like,
I contend you have to do the exact same crap on steroids. You have to be even better at being in alignment with your kids. Even better at that. You have to be even better at providing space for regulation and safety and things that do that. You might have to... I'm a therapist, so I kind of deal with kids. I do a lot of parenting. You may have to provide other shortcuts, like are there certain items... Like, I see kids on autism spectrum, and they have emotional regulation issues. They totally do. Do they need a little extra item to help that regulation? So there's other, like, stuff to facilitate, but I really approach it the same way, just on steroids, and the parents have to be ninjas.
Follow through.
And follow through.
Follow through thing.
My parents who have kids on autism spectrum are, like, the most advanced parents anybody's ever seen. They're super adept because they have to be. And their kids still struggle, but they're super adept, and they do a really great job considering what they do. And the level of parenting they have to deal with, you may only understand if you have a super challenging kid. But I feel like it's the same principles. You just got to, like, amp it up. You got to have good alliance. You have a good relationship. We've only talked a little bit here. And you've got to, like, you've got to provide those limits when you can. You got to provide that space. And
well, and I mean, and anyone you mentioned, like, the alignment with your kids, like, I mean, there's a million different things out there, like 1, 2, 3 Magic, positive parenting solutions. There's a million different programs and like theories out there of the best thing to do. But like, one of the common threads among all of them is finding that emotional connection, that connection with your child, which is the alignment with your child.
Yeah. So I talked about this on another video. About alliance with your child. Child alliance. Okay. Alliance with your child is what we're talking about. So this goes back to just a bigger philosophy to how we parent and how I often advise parents. I mean, there's many ways, many philosophies you can do things, but I really advise a philosophy that leans heavily on alliance with your kids, about having a good relationship with them.
Not to be confused with like worrying about, do your kids like you, or like, I feel like that could easily be
it's totally
confused
different.
That's not what we're talking about.
That's interesting because I don't think about that at all. I'm sure tons of people do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would see that, I think, as like, confuse that,
like if their kids like them, because people want to be liked by their kids,
right? But not at the expense of...
Do you think I don't care? I feel like I don't care.
You don't care? Yeah, that's good. Like...
I got a job to do, man.
Exactly.
You could not like me.
But that doesn't mean you can't...
How many times do I care everly? I'm like, I have to teach you how to be a good girl.
Right. Like, I don't care if you like me.
She's melting down. Yeah, it's okay. I got to teach you how to be a good girl.
Right. And that's good. That's the point. Like,
I love you, but you gotta
learn. You cannot care if they like you or not, but still love them and show them that love and develop that alliance.
I bet it's super common. Just me particularly, I'm not built that way as much.
Yeah.
I think I'm so clear on like the parent, because again, I work as a therapist. So I'm so clear on the parenting, like what we're doing about it, that like I mean, I for sure have other issues, but not that one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Come there. All right, so not like your kids liking you, having a good relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Good relationship, especially through, what do toddlers need?
I mean,
They don't need things.
they don't need toys or things they need.
Have you ever brought...
Quality time.
They're like cats. You bring them a toy, they're playing with the box, all right?
Right. Quality time, experiences,
we bring the sand,
affection.
We bring the sand toys we get them, and they're eating the sand, okay? Like...
Well, Nova's eating the sand. The little one's eating the sand.
Yeah, no, the bigger one can eat the sand at any time, just for a little extra crunch. So they're like, again, they're like cats. They're just going to play with, like right. Whatever. It's not about buying things, and especially about quality time.
Yeah.
Just
quality
being
time
with them.
Experiences.